President, please be seated. The court is back in session, and the floor is now given to the defense team for Mr. Kyu Sampon to resume her line of questioning. You may now proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, Mr. Itsen. I still have a few questions to put to you before I give the floor to my colleague Kong Sam-on. During your interview with the investigators of the OCIJ in July 2008, is it true that Mr. Isa Osman was also present?
Answer: yes, he was there at my house.
Is it true also that you had met him before this interview?
Answer: yes, that is true. I met him once already before that time.
And do you remember the date when you met him?
Answer: I cannot recall the date. I met him. I spent one whole day from the morning until the evening talking to him.
And if I tell you the date, or if I speak about March 2001, does that somehow refresh your memory?
Answer: yes, I agree to what you said.
You said that you had spent the entire day with him. Did he contact you again after this meeting in 2001 to cross-check the account that you had given to him?
Answer: I told him what I know.
Between this first meeting and the moment when you saw him with the investigators of the OCIJ, did you see him again?
Answer: no. It was the only one time that I met him. Once at Ampel village and another one at Ampea.
A last point of clarification now. Regarding the people who had responsibilities between 75 and 79 in your district, do you know a soul named Balsik alias Ho?
Answer: no, I do not know this person.
And my last series of questions now. Do you know a cham by the name of Nosatas?
No. No, Satas. I do not know this person either. Perhaps we are not living in the same village.
Est-ce que vous connaissez?
Do you know a person by the name of Ahmad Sophia?
Answer: no, I do not know either Ahmad Sophia.
Et enfin, est-ce que
And finally, do you know a surname Yusuf Romli, alias Lee?
Answer: I do not know the individual you are referring to, Romli or Ni.
je vous remercie de ces réponses et je
Thank you for these answers, and I will now give the floor to my colleague Kong Sam On.
Council Kong Sam On. Look, Mr. Sen, I have a few questions in relation to the holy text of Quran. Do you hold any position in relation to your religion? Answer: no, I have no position, but I was tasked with taking care of the mosque. Council, thank you. This morning, in relation to your statement, rather, my apology, yesterday, at around 16:03:43, you were asked by lead co-lawyer for civil parties in relation to the killing of a woman, and the woman was tied to a plank, and her neck was cut, and the body was thrown into the pit. Your answer at that time, you stated that I have never heard, I did not witness the incident, but I heard people say that she was beaten and thrown into the pit. That is why I said I do not know about this incident. I want you to clarify what you said yesterday. Did you witness this incident, or did you hear about the incident from someone else? Answer: I did not witness, I did not see the pit, but I was told that there was a pit close to the wall. It was a big pit. People were taken to the pit, and they were placed at the pit. Council, Mr. Witness, I want to interrupt you. I would like you to clarify a point in relation to a woman who was tied to a plank and her neck was cut. You were asked by lead co-lawyer for civil parties yesterday, so I need your clarification whether you witnessed this incident or you only heard from someone about the incident. Answer: I did not witness that incident by myself. Council, thank you. Who told you? Where did you hear this incident from? Answer. Those who were with me during the times that we were detained, I did not know whether that was the actual incident taking place during that time. Counsel, do you know that individual's name? Answer, no, I do not know. Some of them had been taken away and killed. Counsel, thank you. I would like to ask you about the events at Tree Village. You made mention that you were arrested and placed in a house close near the river, and you also stated that the distance from the house where you were detained to the river bank was about 50 meters away. Could you once again tell the size of the house that you were detained, and what did that house look like? Answer. It was a traditional house, a steel house, and it was 11 meters long and 6 meters wide. Counsel, thank you. How about windows? How many windows? Answer, 2 windows at each side. And there were doors in the front and at the back, and the doors and windows were locked at that time when I was detained inside. Counsel, so now from my understanding there were windows on each side, and there were 2 doors as well. So now concerning the windows, so there were 4 windows on 2 windows on one side and another 2 windows on another side. Is that correct? Answer, yes, that is correct. Counsel, thank you. A while ago, you stated that there was one door in the front and another one at the back. Beside the windows and the doors, were there any windows and doors on other sides of the room? Answer, no. My apology, there was only one door in the front, no back door. The door was in the front. Counsel, thank you. You have stated that doors and windows were locked completely. What about the wall? What was the wall made of? Answer, the walls were made out of a plank, and there were cracks in between the planks. And there were cracks and holes that we could see what happened inside the house. Counsel, thank you. Could you tell the court the size of the cracks that you could look through it? Answer, it was about the side between my 2 fingers, and I could see the outside through the cracks. Counsel, you shows to all of us that the sides of the cracks were of the side between my 2 fingers. could you give an estimate how large was the cracks? Answer. It was the size as the microphone. Counsel, for proper record, so how large was it? Could you specify it in centimeters? Was it the size of one finger? Answer. I could not get your question. What do you want to know from me? Counsel, you raised your finger and showed to us the size of the cracks. So now, could you tell the court whether the cracks were the size of which finger on your hands? Answer. So it was the size as the the space between my two fingers. Counsel. Now, if compared to your thumbs, was the were the cracks of your thumb size? Answer. The cracks were smaller compared to my fingers or thumbs. Counsel, thank you. You stated that the distance from the house to the river bank was about 50 meters. Were there any trees in front of the house? Answer. There was a large tree near the wall of the house, and there were bamboo trees as well. There were bamboo trees close to the house, and near the river bank there was a pier that the boat stopped. Counsel, what about vegetables? Were there any vegetables or fruit trees? Answer. No. There were only bamboo trees along the river bank and close to the house. And how large were the bamboo trees? Answer. The bamboo were rather large. It's about, some of them were about 3 meters long. Counsel, thank you. Could you tell the court where were you sitting in the house? You made a mention yesterday that you were standing in the rear that made you be able to untie the rope and made an escape. Did you sit or stand in one particular place, or were you able to move around in the house? Answer. It was about 7:30 or 8 p.m. that night when the military or soldiers came into the house. I was at the back behind others. The soldiers were tightening the ropes, and some soldiers were relieving themselves close near the house. And during that time, I was able to untie the rope and slide open the planks so that I could plea, so those who were in front of me could not see what I was doing at that time. Counsel, Mr. Witness, during the day time, where were you sitting? Answer, we were sitting close to one another in the house, and our hands were tied to a rope. Counsel, you stated that there were many of you inside the house. Does it mean that you were sitting in the front, inside the house, in the front, near the door, or at the back? So where were you at that time? Answer, I was sitting on another side, rather at the back of the house. I was sitting close to the wall on the left side. Counsel, thank you. You stated that you could see the boat towing the prisoners who were tied to the rope or string. So where were you at that time that you could be able to see the boat? Answer, I was inside that house and with my hands tied to the rope. Counsel, I want to know the position where you were sitting in the house. So could you tell the court about the position, the exact position where you were sitting in the house? Answer, I was sitting close to the wall, and I told others to look through the cracks, and we could see the boat through the cracks of the walls. All of us inside the house could see the boat. Counsel, did you see the boat clearly? You have just told the court that there were bamboo trees close to the house. Answer, the bamboo trees did not block our view, and the bamboo trees were 70 meters away from the pier, so the bamboo trees did not block the views. The bamboo trees were to the west of the house. Counsel, you stated that you could see the boat towing people the whole day, entire day, and you have stated that you were sitting at the back of the house. So could you tell the court again the position where you were sitting in the house? Answer, I was sitting close to the wall. I could see the whole incident when the people were tied, their hands were tied to the string attached to the stern of the boat. Those people, 30 of them were tied to a rope. I could see it clearly. Counsel, thank you. Now I want to know about the time when you were able to flee the house, and you stated that it was raining while you were playing. Could you tell the court when it was when you fled the house? What month was it? Answer: I cannot recall the month exactly. It was raining during on that day. I cannot tell you the exact month when I was able to flee. Counsel: what about the river, the water in the river, the situation of the water in the river? You stated that you had a water container and you filled the water in that container. So can you tell about the situation of the water during that time? Answer: if I stood on the bank, I could see the river below the bank. And from the house, I could see the boat. And the water was not high in that season. Counsel: during that time, was it a rainy season or a dry season? Answer: during that time, the water was receding. Counsel: what about the water flow? Did the water in the river flow very fast? Answer: yeah, the water did flow very fast in front of three or strong villages. Counsel: so how long how many kilometers or meters did you swim during that time when you went into the river?
Answer: I cannot remember how many kilometers that I had to swim. However, when I left or when I started swimming, it was around 12:30 midnight, and I arrived at the other side of the embankment at around 4 o'clock in the morning. So I cannot estimate how many kilometers that I had swum. Question: did you actually swim across the river, or did you swim along the river before you reach the embankment on the other side? Answer: I was actually swimming in the middle of the river. There was an island in the middle of the river near the village. Question: what was the distance from the middle of the river to the embankment? Answer: I can only provide you an estimate. It was pretty far. It could be 4 to 5 kilometers long. However, this is a very rough estimate. Question: I'd like to put a question to you in relation to the event that took place at Koh Pal. This morning at around 9:47, you testified about the preparation by soldiers for the attack at Koh Pal, and later on a fight broke out. Could you tell the court how long or how many days did the soldiers prepare themselves in the advancement of the fight? Answer: I do not know for sure. As for how long, my elder sibling told me that the soldiers, many soldiers arrived at Koh Pal on boats, by boat. However, I did not know how many days they had spent. Question. Can you confirm whether you learned of the event at Kopal via your elder brother? Answer, yes. In fact, I learned it of my elder-in-law. Since at that time I was living in Ampel village and my elder-in-law fled to my village. Question. So, am I correct to say that you never witnessed what took place in Kopal? Answer, yes, that is correct. I did not witness it personally. Council, thank you, Mr. Witness, and Mr. President, I am done. Thank you. President, thank you. The hearing of the testimony of Mr. Utsen is now concluded, and Mr. Utsen, the Chamber is grateful of your testimony as a witness for the last 2 days. Your testimony may contribute to ascertaining the truth in this case. You may now be excused and return to wherever you wish to go to, and the Chamber wishes you all the best. Court officer, please, in collaboration with the Waisu, make a necessary transportation arrangement for the witness to return to, and usher the civil party, namely to TCCP 244, into the courtroom. President, good afternoon, Mr. Civil Party. What is your name? Answer, my name is Suponyamin. President, thank you, Mr. Suponyamin. And when were you born? Answer, I was born in 1954. President, thank you. And where were you born? Answer, I was born in village 5, Svai Kleng Commune, Krochma District, Kampong Cham Province. Question, where is your current address? Answer, I still live in the same native village, however now it is in Kbong Khmum province rather than Kampong Cham. Question, and what is your current occupation? Answer, I am a rice farmer. Questioned, what are the names of your father and mother? Answer, my father is Sohman and my mother is Fatimah. Question, thank you. And what is your wife's name and how many children do you have together? Answer, my wife's name is Fatima and we have 7 children. President, thank you. And Mr. Sopunyamin, at the conclusion of your testimony as a civil party, you will be given an opportunity to make an impact statement of suffering that were inflicted upon you during the Democratic Cambodia regime, if you wish to do so. And that's pursuant to Rule 91B of the ECCC internal rule. The Chamber will hand the floor first to the lead co-lawyers for civil parties to put questions to this witness, Sopunyamin. And the combined time for both the co-prosecutors and the lead co-lawyers for civil parties are 2 sessions. You may proceed. Thank you, Mr. President, and good afternoon, Your Honors. I'd like to assign Lao Chun-Te, a civil party lawyer, to put a question to the civil party, and then my colleague Mario will continue putting questions further. President, yes, you may proceed. Lao Chun-Te, good afternoon, Your Honors. Good afternoon, everyone in around the courtroom. My name is Lao Chun-Te. I am a lawyer for civil parties, and I actually came from the legal aid of Cambodia. And good afternoon, Mr. Punyamin. I'd like to put some questions to you in relation to the experience you went through during the Democratic Cambodia regime from 17 April 1975 through 6 January 1979. My first question is the following. Where were you after the 17 April 1975, and were you ordered to leave your hometown? Answer. Allow me to respond to your question, Counsel. In fact, before 1975, I was still living in Swai Kleng village. Question. And after 1975, were you still living in Swai Kleng village? Says the counsel. Answer. As I said, before 1975, I was living in Swai Kleng village, that is in my home village. And after 1975, I was evacuated to Dambai district in Seda in Kampong Cham province. Questioned. And before that, that is while you were still living in your home village, what did the Khmerus do to you and to other Cham people there? Answer. While I was living in Svai Klang village, and I had lived there since I was born, allow me to put it in a timeline. Under their initial control, their policy was so good. They made a propaganda for us to join their actions in order to liberate the country. They respected our religion, and that happened before 1975. However, everything changed after April 1975, that is after the liberation of Phnom Penh. President, Defense Council, you may proceed. Council, Mr. President, thank you. I'd like to submit a question to you to instruct the civil party in order to use a proper language and not to use any inappropriate language. For example, the word weir in Khmer refers to an animal or to an object and not a human being. And here, before this court, we have an accused who is charged to be a leader of the Democratic Cambodia regime. For that reason, it seems to be a contempted word when the civil party used the word "we" toward the regime. Lawyer for civil party. I'd like to respond, Mr. President. The way Mr. Punjamin says it is a very dialect. It's a kind of slang used by him. President interrupt. And counsel, if you know the way your client speaks or says, then please make your question short and instruct him to respond precisely to the point. Otherwise, it will be a waste of time. And Mr. Civil Party, Mr. Punyamin, please adhere to proper language. Here, you are present in the court of law, and you should not use any inappropriate words that might have an impact or might affect other individuals. Please show your respect in this courtroom. Thank you. Lajanti, thank you. And Mr. Civil Party, the Chamber has just instructed you to please use appropriate language with respect. Before the interruption, you spoke about what happened in your village. Can you please tell the court what happened during those first few months in your village? Answer. In 1975, the regime started to impose a restriction on our religion, forced us to eat pork, and they did not allow us to fast. The restriction was imposed also on the food ration, compounded by hard manual labor, and that made us very difficult to survive. Question. You just spoke about the restrictions imposed by the Khmer rules. Was the restriction also applied to the language or only to your religious practice? Answer. Allow me to clarify it. The restriction was for us problematic since we were not allowed to speak the Cham language. And the restrictions applied almost to every aspect of life, on food, on clothing, and women, Cham women were forced to cut the hair short. So the way of our living was extremely difficult. Question. So you said they impose restrictions on your community, and now in terms of food, were you forced to eat food that you should not? Answer. We were forced to eat the food that we could not eat, and if we did not eat, we would be accused of not giving up to our religious practice, and that would be subject to be monitored. If we oppose any of the principles they impose, then we will be accused of being an enemy of Angkar. Question. Were there clear instructions as how you should act or should perform? Answer. Please be more specific in your question. Question. Thank you. What I mean is that were there meetings held in your village, for instance, where instructions were told, where restrictions were informed, for instance? Answer. They had their principles and instructions, and whenever they wanted to impose those instructions, we would be called to the meetings so that those instructions would be relayed and subsequently imposed. Usually, the cooperative chief or the commune chief would present such impositions. Question. Please direct your response to the bench when you answer my questions. So, when such meetings were held where instructions or restrictions were announced, what would happen to anyone who violated those regulations or restrictions? And allow me to inform the chamber that, as I just said, if anyone violated the principle, the person will be accused of being an enemy. For that reason, people were tied up and arrested almost every night. I can say that out of the 30 days in a month, 20 days where people were arrested and tied. So it is my understanding that those people who were arrested were accused of violating their regulations or restrictions, and usually they came to arrest those people at night time and put them on a horse cart and took them away. Counsel, Mr. Sivapati, please try to avoid and try to refrain from using the word "we." You should refer to a particular person, for example, a commune chief or a village chief. Thank you. So you said people were arrested, and who made those arrests? And where were those arrested sent to? Answer. I am sorry, Mr. President. I try my best not to use the word "we," but it's very difficult for me to make a change suddenly, as I have used the word throughout my life. I know he is under protection by law, but we also have to remember that he kills the people during the Democratic Cambodia regime at his own discretion. Council interrupts. Mr. Sivapati, please respond to my question. Sivapati, I apologize, Mr. President. I've never been in a courtroom before, so please mind my words. And Mr. Counsel, please repeat your question. I am lost. Question. You just stated that people were arrested, and my question to you was the following. Who actually arrested those people, and where were they sent to? Answer. I did not know who those soldiers were when they arrested people. I did not know whether they were security force from the commune or from the district. They actually arrested those people and they were detained at the security center of the district. But I cannot make a conclusion that they were killed. However, I never saw them again, and if they were to survive, they would be more than 100 years old by now. So it's common sense that they died, but legally speaking, I cannot say that they were taken away and killed because I did not witness it. Question. Can you please tell the court what kind of people were arrested or what mistakes did they make that led to them being arrested? Answer. I cannot tell the chamber what mistakes those people made. And importantly, we could not say whether they made a mistake or not. If they wanted to arrest someone, they would do so. And those people, to me, I could not say they make a mistake. Some of them never even knew Phnom Penh, or they could even not even count from 1 to 10, but instead they were accused of being a military colonel. Question. So you just stated those people were arrested and sent to be detained at a district. And which district are you referring to? And they were sent to the detention center of Krochma district. Question. So that's what happened in your village. That is, people were arrested. And can you tell the court whether later on you joined forces to involve in a revolt? Answer. At that stage, in fact, we gathered around, and there were about 7 of us. Due to the extremely difficult living condition, and we were thinking that if we did not revolt and we did not do anything, then our days would come that when we would be taken away and killed. For that reason, we gathered up amongst the 7 of us, and we organized a revolt. That is the plan. We knew that we would be killed anyway because we did not have any weapons to attack them, and that we would be shot dead. But we did not have any choice except opting for a revolt, and that's what we did. Question. Within your group, who actually initiated the gathering of the forces to involve in the revolt? Answer. I was an Lepanak and Sri Tam were spearheading the gathering of the group, and we gathered after 7 people, including us, and before our plan was broke out, and actually I learned that that night 80 people would be arrested, as we knew that throughout the day we knew those people were being asked whether they knew about the Holy Quran, and at night time there was a plan for their arrest. Question. And how did you come to know about the arrest of the 80 people? Who were those 80 people? To me, it's unclear from what you just said. Answer. Allow me to expand it a little bit because this event took place many years ago, and I try to piece together the information. That day was the last day of the Ramadan period, the Raja day, we were not allowed to celebrate anything, any of our holiday, but it was rather strange. That day, that is on the Raya Day, we were allowed to celebrate our holiday, and those people did not know at all that they were being monitored. So we celebrated the Raya Day that day, and at night time, my younger sibling worked for the commune youth, and then a meeting was held and said that there was a plan to arrest the 80 infiltrated enemy that night, and that have I learned about the arrest.
Council, you stated that they allowed all of you to celebrate the Riyah or Ramadan on that day. How did they know that all of you wanted to revolt? Answer. From my understanding, I believed that I would not achieve what I wanted, but in my mind, if I did not do it or revolt, I would be killed. And at that time, during the time of the revolt, we were able to collect the name lists of 80 people to be arrested and burn it. So they did not know whom to be arrested. During that time, went to collect a name list and burned it. My relative or cousin Matt was also in the list. Tess and him had been arrested by them at that time, and because of the arrests, the revolt took place. Council, thank you. Regarding the incident, when did it happen? What years or was it? What month was it? Did the fighting happen at that time? Answer. It happened in the night of 10 October 1975. Question. Where did the fighting start first? And how did it happen? Answer. The revolt took place in the night of 10 October 1975, during which I was guarding my uncle Ya Slash, Ya Isa, and Ya Mas. I knew during that night that my three uncles would be arrested. Ya Slash and Ya Sa and Yamat were siblings, and they were accused of being linked to Lunal period. My uncles actually did not know even of Phnom Penh. during that time. I was guarding my uncles during that night. Nothing happened. I invited my 7 friends and discussed with them that if we kept silent, we would die the day after because they had the name list. And I initiated and suggested that the revolt should start. And I had a discussion with my 7 friends how to start the revolts. During the discussion, I told my 7 friends to guard my uncles, and I was the one who went to collect the drum. The mosque was closed down, and the drum was placed in that mosque. It was around 9 or 10 that I went to collect the drum from Sia. Villagers, people, Cham people in other places also went to collect drums because drums were used to signal each other in our Cham's tradition. During that night, I decided that I had to start the revolt and attack the Khmer Rouge. If I did not attack or chop the Khmer Rouge, I would be killed afterward. My apology. I am now still using the word aware because I am not I'm not used to use the proper words. My apology, judges, counsel. When you all encountered the militiaman, there was a fighting and the revolts started at that time. Is that correct? Answer. At that time, I screamed to the one who was in charge of making sound by using the drum to beat the drum, and everyone came to help, and the fire started from that night. Counsel. Did the Khmer Rouge soldier come to surround all of you? When was it? What time was it that the Khmer Rouge came to surround all of you? Answer. Regarding the Khmer Rouge soldiers, I did not know at that time where they were from. I don't know either where what districts they were from. There was a change of fire, and there was a fighting erupting at that time. I did not know at that time whether the soldiers belonged to the center or belonged to any districts or communes. Counsel. After the encounter, did people died from that encounter? Answer. During the fighting or revolt, many of us died. I I cannot tell you how many of us died. Some died in the bushes close by. Council, thank you. After the crackdown by the soldiers or militiamen, what did the militiamen or soldiers do to villagers? Answer. After we were surrounded, we were ordered to leave our villages. Children and everyone were ordered to leave the villages. Men and women were separated from each other. We were placed in hospitals and schools. Hospitals during that time were quiet, so no patient were allowed to be hospitalized. The men were put in the place where the medicines were made. As for women, they were placed in a pagoda under cherry tree. Question. After you all were placed in the various areas, were all of you interrogated and tortured? Answer. Torture did happen in those places. We were put in those places for further selection. 40 of us were put in a school or classroom. We were interrogated, and the bayonets were pointed to our necks, and we were questioned who started the revolve. There were many questions put to all of us, and I could not recall all of them. The interrogation happened at night time. After a few days of interrogations, 3 or 10 of us from different classrooms were taken away. For instance, there was one room with 50 Jam people in that room, and only a few remained because some others were taken away. Council, you stated that those people had been taken away. Where were they taken to? President, please hold on. Mr. Witness, you have to observe the microphone before you speak. Civil party. I cannot tell you where they were sent to, but I can tell the purpose of transfers, because during the time that villagers were taken away, hosts were with the soldiers. These people were taken to the jungle, and I did not know what the soldier did to these villagers. Council, was food given to those who were locked in the classrooms? Answer. We were given a ladle of food per meal. And the meal was cooked in a container and went When the meal became less, they took the water from the river and filled in the container. I would like to inform the chamber that I myself ate also grass. During the time that I had the permission to relieve myself, I would fetch leaves, grass leaves or other leaves to fill my stomach. And I had to eat those leaves secretly. I put those leaves in my waistband. I ate all of those leaves during nighttime only to add up the gruel that we were allowed to eat. Question. Concerning your close colleagues who joined the revolt with you, were they also arrested by the Khmer Rouge at that time? Answer. Srestam, my close associate, was arrested on the second day and 1 month survived the period. He passed away 2 or 3 years ago. President, thank you, civil party lawyer. It is now time for a break. The chamber will take a short break from now until 3 o'clock. Court officer, please find a proper room for this civil party during the break time, and please invite him back into the witness stand in the courtroom at 3 o'clock. The court is now in recess.